Wait, remember Coconut Fred's Fruit Salad Island? With a name like that, it's kinda hard not to. Coconut Fred's Fruit Salad Island is a notorious show for one reason or another, either being dunked on for what the show offered entertainment and substance-wise, or being constantly called and referred to as a clone of another and more extremely popular show, SpongeBob. Despite this, the show was receiving better viewership as it went on. There is a fan base out there that is still active today looking for more information about the production of the show or more pieces from the lost pilot episode, and all of this stemming from a show that is left in the past with only ever having 13 full episodes and pretty low ratings in terms of people's opinions on it. Today, I wanted to take a little look back on Coconut Fred, talk a bit about what the show was about, the comparison problems it had, how the creators of the show navigated what happened to it, and what could have been if the show had the opportunity to continue on. Let's take a trip over to Fruit Salad Island and see what Coconut Fred was up to in the early 2000s and beyond.
Welcome back to the 25 Days of Fringe-miss, where there's going to be brand...
Wait. Double Fringe-miss.
Aw, you only thought you were gonna get 25 videos this year? Look at you. You look silly. But I'm here to fix that because I'm going to give you not only 25 videos, but I'm giving you 50 videos. I have 2 channels. That's 2 Fringe misses. Each day there'll be a brand new video on both channels for 25 days. I haven't slept in months. Enjoy the content. Or don't.
Coconut Fred's Fruit Salad Island was created by Sammy Aridi and Don Oriolo and was initially going to be pitched to Disney. It ended up back in the archives until it caught the eye of Christopher Keenan, who at the time was Senior Vice President of Creative Affairs working in development for Kids WB. In a pitch meeting with Sammy, he was presented with a pretty unremarkable snowboarding show idea, and pulled the, hey, what else you got? So Sammy pulled out Fred, and Keenan immediately fell in love with a picture of him, and I mean, how could you not? His eyes are practically hypnotic, and you can even assume that without his alluring charm, this series may never have seen the light of day. So Keenan brought Coconut Fred home to WB, and Sammy called Don. They had a show to make. In creating the series, they had a lot of work to do. In general, Sammy says that he was inspired by Gilligan's Island. In creating the series, that was a main driving factor. If everyone on Gilligan's Island was a fruit. Simple enough and straight to the point of the concept. The theme song was the most important thing to Sammy, as he is first and foremost a musician. When the series was handed to WB, they initially had someone contracted to make the theme song, but while Sammy couldn't, for contractual reasons, stop the theme song from being produced, he could compete. So he made his own theme song, as he thought it should be, and presented it winning, obviously. So the Coconut Fred theme that you hear in every episode is Sammy's original song, a credit that he actually takes more pride in than the created by credit. He is a musician through and through. Animation-wise, the series is unique. It's produced almost entirely in Flash and pulls from a collage aesthetic to give it a really textured 3D look. Collaged using Photoshop, they had a library of photos to pull from in creating the atmosphere, and the textures were also incredibly important in designing intricate vector textures for all of the characters. All of that's a fancy way of saying it will achieve a photographic look. This is a pretty unique medium, one that you don't see too often. One that comes to mind since we just talked about it recently on the channel is Angela Anaconda, and by doing it this way, it creates its own version of this unique style, one that I really just enjoy looking at. It's colorful, odd, and something I can't seem to take my eyes off when watching.
We'll be right back, remember. There's more new things for you to see.
So there's a square yellow elephant in the room. Coconut Fred's Fruit Salad Island has understandably been burdened with the career stain of blatant SpongeBob ripoff, an allegation that even the all-powerful Fred seems to be unable to beat. And the evidence is definitely overwhelming, so let me break it down a bit. They both have buck teeth, wacky expressions, big round eyes, colorful shorts, and for lack of a better description, holes. Coconut holes, technically, instead of sponge holes, but holes nonetheless. His attitude is similar too. Both Bob and Fred are hyperactive and happy-go-lucky, and it's not just Bizarro SpongeBob that viewers are noticing. Some of the side characters can be fairly compared to each other, the strongest comparison being Slip and Slide DePeel versus Patrick Star. The setting is similar, as well as the genre of music the setting inspires. And because the show gets a lot of heat, fans have been constantly seeking the opinions of their favorite voice actors who have worked on the series. Fans and haters seem to be pretty fixated on what Rob Paulsen, voice of Coconut Fred, thinks about the series, and it seems that he's gotten asked this a few times. His most complex answer satisfied a lot of haters when he actually directly told fans at a Q&A session that the series was, by admission of producers, their version of SpongeBob. He wasn't harsh with his wording, he didn't use the word ripoff, and he later defended his work and opinion on the series by emphasizing how dumb it is to complain about getting a paid acting job. What a humble king. And also shout out to Drew the Red Pucciana for recording that moment. I really do think that this time in animation had so many cool and creative ideas pouring out left and right, and I am a sucker for something that embraces the medium to just go buck wild with it or try and stand out in other unique ways to capture attention. But beyond the presentation value, the show doesn't feel like there's too much under the surface to dig into. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Not every show or every episode of a show has to have these deeply constructed plot points filled with morals and lessons to learn, and with Coconut Fred, you're definitely not going to see a lot going on inside of this coconutty idea.
This Double Fringe Miss is brought to you by Gamer Subs. Ah! Did I scare you? Probably not. But what should scare you is paying 10% more when you don't have to. You're supporting Gamer Subs, you're supporting me, and if you use code FRINGE, you get 10% off. You don't gotta pay that 10%. And if you're paying that 10%, I'm looking at you like this. Why? Code FRINGE.
The character of Fred himself is a bit too much to handle at some points and often lacks the characteristics for you to truly have a connection to him, unless you are just purely made of chaotic neutral energy. He's not inherently bad, but I wouldn't say he's good either, thanks to a lot of the problems stemming from him and him being pretty self-centered when things end up okay for him in the end. Maybe this would have changed over time given the amount of episodes in existence, but it can come off a bit too much too fast. That doesn't mean the show isn't funny or will keep you interested, as I definitely had my fair share of chuckles originally watching this as a kid, and even now when revisiting it. I can see how there were decent ratings before the show came to an end, so let's kind of get into a bunch of that here. And hearing Sammy talk about the series in an interview conducted by the homie Alpha J Show, it's clear that he had a lot of love for the series, and as its creator will always be its #1 supporter. Sammy has a lot of ideas about what could have contributed to its downfall. He actually claims that the series was too successful, saying that when the Kids WB block was being shut down, they were actually riding a viewership high. He says they hit an average of 3.7 in ratings at the time. But let's take a look at the block. Coconut Fred snagged a Saturday morning block at 9:30 and 10:30 a.m., both peak times for Saturday morning cartoons. Coconut Fred's Fruit Salad Island was bookended by popular franchises like Johnny Test and Pokemon. So a lot of kids were in front of their TVs at the time, and kids aren't too picky about the shows that play during ongoing cartoon blocks like this if it's just stuff that surrounds the other big stuff that they're initially there for. And before I forget to mention, please go and check out Alpha J Show's massive video on Coconut Fred. It'll be linked down below. So what happened to the series after the downfall of Kids WB? Let's get into that. And thinking of the show right now, I don't particularly think there's much more of a marketable future for Coconut Fred outside of a niche group of fans who enjoyed the original series. But that being said, it's still fun to entertain what could have been and what still could be. According to Sammy, after the CW transition, Coconut Fred was being considered for purchase from other companies, but Warner Bros. Decided to keep the IP, instead of selling and risking being overshadowed by a rival entertainment company. He says that the main fear there is looking stupid and references that they didn't want to follow in the footsteps of the Family Guy Fox flip-flop. He claims that WB got greedy in asking for way over market value for the series, and states that if they were to have sold, the series would still be on the air, possibly in its 10th season. That's obviously a lot to shoot for, and of course, as the creator of something, you're going to believe in it the most, and I don't doubt that there were pages and pages full of notes, outlines, and ideas of where the show could go, the situations Coconut Fred and his Fruit Salad Island friends could get into. But I think a lot of this could just be reworked into a spiritual successor, something new entirely that can build something new all its own.
We'll be right back, remember. There's more new things for you to see.
Going back to Sammy's original theory, Coconut Fred was doomed from the start due to its success. Do I agree with him? Not particularly. The show already got a crazy opportunity. People aren't kidding when they say selling a show is 1 in a million, or maybe a couple thousand is more realistic, but to be generous here, the show didn't get a massive chance to shine longer than it did, only running for a total of 13 episodes, which is way too little to ever know if this could have been something bigger than it was. Again, the limited amount of episodes isn't the fault of the show or how it was received by the audience, so I am not faulting the show for that. Sammy then, after comparing Coconut Fred to Family Guy, then compares it to SpongeBob, saying that they were given the same marketing treatment plan. So I would like to believe he didn't just create this as a SpongeBob ripoff to sell to Disney, but there is a lot here telling me that the blueprint for success has always been to follow SpongeBob. And I will reiterate, for the sake of coming off to judging here, that I still very much don't dislike the show. I think there is a lot of fun to be had here with the limited amount of episodes produced. So if by some off chance Coconut Fred were to get a second chance, I would gladly be tuning in and wanting to see it find its own rhythm, so the comparisons don't sound like they are critiques of originality. If there were to be more to the show, what could this look like? Supervising director, character designer, and featured voice actor Matt Danner says that the team was ready to make more episodes of Fred. They had an entire arc based around the concept of Coconut Fred realizing that he's the god of his own reality. And if Sammy says that they could have been on season 10 by now, I'm sure he's got lots of other plans for Fred, in the chance he gets to step back into the spotlight. So now I'm curious as to your thoughts about this. Would you want to see Coconut Fred be given another chance? Is there more to this show than just the overabundance of comparisons? Or heck, did you even get the chance to see this show in general, given the small amount of episodes that it had? Let me know in the comments below. I've been Jordan Fringe. Thanks so much for watching. Like and subscribe. Later.